Let's go. We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing. Coach Kenny with the coverage, we loving it all day. Picking up the news, tell us wherever the ball lay. With the NFL, NBA, they box so. Sports news in the hands of a man with fair takes. Tell them, coach, statistics and realness that's being spoke. Either headed for the win or they hitting the goalposts. Either way, we woke up to the news of the day. Any Kenny could call it, he like to talk it out with Ray. Fast breaks down the lane, they better move out the way, or they pulling from perimeter. Curry bury the trade, yeah, they got it. Woo! Duval with the hottest, Chris and Dev like the master, and mix it up like it's Logic being modest. They been looking for that real, trying to get it feel. Sports podcast, they run it back on the real. That's a steal, yeah. They never sick, but they ill. Real sports talk going, deliver, signed and sealed. We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing.
Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to Real Talk. My name is Chris, and of course, I got my guy, Coach Kenny, with me. Kenny, how you doing this evening?
I'm great, man. Great, man. Always great to be on with the young gunner.
Yeah, man. Sorry I wasn't able to be here Monday, but we have a lot to talk about today, and I know it was one topic y'all talked about on Monday. I definitely want to give my 2 cents in. Before we get started, man, just let the people know what you got going on.
Yeah, for sure. Hughes was good. So yeah, man, we still got our campaign going. Our Giving Zone campaign is still live. You can still contribute. Thank you to everybody that's contributed so far. We're close to halfway to our goal. And so you can still contribute. Go to givingzone.com and then just look for the St. Joseph Academy flashes. And your contributions will be appreciated. And anything that whatever you could contribite, we appreciate it. Just getting ready to hit the road. Matter of fact, shout out to Embry-Riddle University in Daytona Beach. I was just on the phone with the coach today. He invited us to their team camp. So we're gonna be busy in June. So you may not see me much on the show, but yeah, that's what's going on, man.
Good to hear it. Good to hear it. Now, it's March Madness. Currently, we have some games going on. We have UConn up 10 right now against San Diego State. You have Clemson up 8 over the number 2 seed Arizona. So when you look at, the games going on right now, first, who do you think is going to win those 2 games?
Who do you think is going to win? So right now, I got Clemson. I like Clemson right now against Arizona. We were talking about it backstage.
Yeah.
That we're going to we're talking about backstage, and we actually got a guest that we're gonna so listen, folks, we got a new segment that we're gonna be debuting, and actually gonna debut it tonight, and it's called Fan Rant. This is your opportunity to come on and fire and bring that real talk concerning what you're mad about or whatever your issue is with your team. And so before we get into the Clemson thing, we're going to bring him on. He's backstage, so we're going to bring him on. We got to make sure we get him on quick because this guy's long-winded. I don't know how long this is going to take.
What's up?
What's going on?
It's a pleasure to be on.
Great to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Man, let me introduce. This is Axley's family. It's my cousin, Corey McBride. We go way back. One of my hooping buddies from when I actually could hoop.
Yes. Yes.
That's why I coach now, because I can't hoop anymore. But great guy. He's also in education as well. Corey, welcome to the show. And then tell us, what do you want to rant about?
Yeah, thank you. I'm honored to be on the show. Yes, I do remember when Kenny, yes, it wasn't can't he. Yes, can he do it? Yes, he could. You know, back in the day when Kenny Anderson was our favorite player, you know, of course, Rod and everybody else. But now, if I watch certain games, my hamstring starts hurting as well, man. It's crazy how life is. But I'm glad we still here in Atlanta living. I don't have a rant about a specific team as much as what's been going on between this that we done with the 90s business, right? Like, I'm so sick of this. We done with the 90s. That's my rant, right? Because more than it being about Jordan and LeBron, right? And for me, I have 1A, 1B, 1C, Mike, LeBron, and Kareem. You could put them in any order you want, right? Because nobody has done more from high school through, you know, even now, Kareem is writing books, right? And he played 4 years at UCLA under John Wooden, and LeBron just passed him, right? Like if he gone straight to the NBA and straight to the pros, LeBron would still have probably about 5,000 more points, you know, or so that he'd have to do in order to try to catch Kareem, and he'd really be hurting trying to do that. And Mike didn't even care about that stuff back then, so he wasn't even trying to do it. But my problem and my rant is when people just try to be dismissive of the past, right? So it's a that's the problem, is how do we make the past irrelevant? And the only thing that's relevant is our time, right? So back in our day, it was like folks was like trying to tell us, you know, Dr. J, like we got to see Dr. J. At least I'm old enough to have remembered Dr. J, but not as well as like, you know, like today, some people remember like LeBron. It wasn't like that, or seeing Mike play during his time. But Dr. J and Oscar Robertson, right? Just seeing some of the greats do their thing. You know, we're so dismissive of Bill Russell and how he dominated the game, but yet everybody's like, Victor Wembanyama is the future, right? When he looks just like Will, did I say Wilt Russell? And when he looks just like Bill Russell, you could have thrown either one of them, Will or Bill, right? But Bill Russell, he looks just like him. So my rant is really about people complaining about relevance. And so if you're a student of the game, a true student of the game knows you can't be dismissive of any decade. But the 90s, man, there's something about that 90s that just made it special for everything, whether it's hip hop, you know, whether it's R&B, whether it's fashion, right? You had everything from Tupac and NWA to Public Enemy and Biggie Smalls to Eminem, right? Like all of that was all in one decade. Right. So it's I mean, you had everything then. Big Daddy Kane was hot. MC Lyte was hot. Queen Latifah was hot. And then Little Kim came on the scene. Right. For basketball, you had everything from Akeem Olajuwon, who's often overlooked, to Shaq, to Tim Duncan, to Dirk Nowitzki, to The Answer, to MJ, Winning Six, to Isaiah played during that time. Right. To Paul Pierce, to, you know, so there was so much versatility at the time, and the players were not allowed to do what a lot of players do today. Like they wouldn't let Patrick Ewing come up and pull up for 4 or 5 3-pointers a game. But we know Pat developed that jump shot at the end of his career. That man was a perimeter threat. Oakley became a perimeter threat, right? So there's no stretch four that just started back then, right? It's these guys.
Great point.
What's up? What were you saying?
No. That's a great point. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that's a great point. Is that sometimes that, and I wish that Ray was on tonight, because this is, you know what I'm saying? Because this would have really.
Well, I'll be ready today. Don't worry.
No, but you know what? No, the reason why I say that is because you actually do. You're not the dismissive type when it comes to the previous era. You pay homage to the previous era.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so there's some of that generation that are dismissive, to your point, Corey. So I just think that what you said about the stretch 4 and the stretch 5, like there were versions of that.
Absolutely.
In the
Bill Lane Beer.
Like, yeah, and you know, you talked about Rod, and Unk got a clip. It's out there on social media where he was Euroing back in the early 90s.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
All of these, you know, it's just really just things coming full circle, and we're just seeing an evolution. To your point about Wemby, to me,
Yeah.
he's just an evolution of Bill Russell, of all of these guys, and
Ralph
they're just
Sampson.
adding exactly.
Yeah,
Ralph,
exactly.
point, Chris. It's just the game keeps evolving, and guys are just taking bits and pieces from each era
That's it.
and incorporating it into their game. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to jump in on that.
Now, what would Ray say? That's the segment. What would Ray say?
Hey, we might have to give you a producer credit because that's actually a great idea.
What would Ray say? I mean, Ray would say a lot, honestly. Ray could be a hater. You know, it's time where he gives his credit, but Ray could be a hater. I'll say that.
A hater against what? The 90s generation, the old school?
I don't. Yes and no. Because I think what one thing I kind of agree, or my personal take, when I look at the old school, it's not so much as hating on it, but you know, they tell us to give the old school credit, but the old school doesn't want to give the evolution credit. So you see a lot of people kind of stuck in the 90s ways and saying, oh, nothing's going to be like you said, music, fashion, but specifically basketball, nobody's going to top what the 90s did.
Yeah.
And more than likely, whenever they gave their argument, they're only talking about 5-6 players. So after those 5-6 players, then it's kind of a scratch of a head. So when I look at it, I like Kenny said, you know, I give the 90s credit. I give, you know, the generations before me credit. The only time I have to go back is when, okay, why are you not giving my generation credit? Why are you not giving evolution credit? Because you look at guys now, you cannot tell me some of these guys now, if you drop them in the 90s, wouldn't be for first team All-NBA for a decade straight. And that's my only issue.
I would love to speak to that because, you know, it's funny because I have my friends who they've given up on basketball. They're like, they hate the NBA today. It's not, you know, they feel that way. And I'm the one that's arguing like, no, you see how skilled these players are. Have you ever seen anything like just the range? Like they had skills back then, but they weren't allowed to display them to the same extent, right? Or you'd be sitting right next to the coach, you out there shooting all those threes. Again, to the point, Chris Webber, Rasheed Wallace, they were in the 90s. They were stretch fours, right? Dirk was out there back then. These guys were shooters, and they adjusted their games to become shooters, right? But as far as today's game, I enjoy today's game for what it is, right? Like when Steph is gone, we're going to miss Steph, right? I'm kind of missing them now because, you know, the Warriors are falling off right before our eyes, right? But when LeBron is gone, I'm going to miss LeBron.
Dude, like it's almost like you were backstage because this one of our topics.
Yeah, it's like people. One thing I could say about this, you know, it feels like this generation, maybe it's the age of social media, but a lot of people aren't going to realize how great these players were until they retire. You know, it's a lot of negativity being spoken on guys like LeBron. For a while, Steph Curry, even though he's starting to get some love now. But when LeBron retires and people actually sit back and look at his career, like the dude has 40,000 points. That's not talked about enough. Like 40,000 points, and he's still going. And it's just the fact that if you put him
in Balco is real.
Come on.
No, I'm just joking. I'm a huge LeBron James fan. Huge LeBron James fan. I am. I love what he's done off the court. I love what he's doing on it. There's nothing about LeBron James I'm like, oh, nah. No, this. So what did Batman say? You either die a hero or see yourself live long enough to become the villain, right? I remember when Kobe was coming up. He was a few years younger than me. I remember him coming up and how much I rooted for him, right? To get there. Like when he was playing against Utah and shooting those air balls, right? When he was doing that crossover that Sham God taught him and then dunking on people. When he was going to the dunk contest, like I wanted to see him become great. And then once he became great and he started winning, everybody made him an enemy. Yep. So it's like, get to the top of the mountain and let's see how the media can take you down and how we can be divisive instead of just enjoy. If you just enjoy a player, I don't have time to compare Nick Van Exel to Kenny Anderson, right? I don't have time to compare who was the best all-star. I mean, who was the best NBA player not to make an all-star game, right? That's Ron Strickland, by the way. But, you know, I don't have time to like, I appreciate what they brought to the game. We don't, like kids today, they don't even know who Mark Price is, right? But Mark Price was a bad man. We never talk about Terrell Brandon. We don't talk about enough about Kevin Johnson, right? This man was dunked on Akeem Olajuwon. They made a commercial out of it, right? KJ was ridiculous, right? So it's like,
look at his numbers.
Guys that just get lost over time. That if you learn to appreciate, then you can say, oh, Dana Barros, Gilbert Arenas, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, like these guys were the iterations before Steph Curry. Even his dad. People forget how much of a deadly shooter his dad was. You know? Or Dale Ellis. And Craig Hodges.
The list goes on and on.
Come on. Sidney Moncrief and them were back. That Milwaukee team was no joke. People don't talk about the defense and the toughness of Alvin Robinson, right? Like people just don't talk about the greats. It's like you have to maintain history, you know, because then those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. My grandchildren, I don't have any right now, but my grandchildren will be talking about, and LeBron wasn't all that good. What about such and such and such? You know, Jordan.
They're gonna say, what about Wemby?
Wemby, yeah, they're gonna say, my grandchildren are gonna say Wemby is the greatest player of all time. There's never been a player like him. When he doesn't have better numbers than Shaq in Shaq's rookie year, right?
But,
and so
let's not act like Wemby.
Oh, I love Wemby. And
like,
you know, I got him on my draft. I drafted him in my fantasy leagues. I'm getting all those blocks. I'm getting 3-pointers. I'm getting rebounds. I love Wemby. But I'm not saying he's the greatest player. You know, I'm just putting him in context. Like he's got great numbers. He's doing things that's never been done. Like as far as what you see, his numbers aren't the best that you've ever seen of all time. But what he's doing for his height, for his size, is something we've never seen before. So yes, let's just appreciate it. I don't want a comparison. I just want to enjoy. But let's not talk down to any. Like, all right, maybe the 2000s was kind of whack, right? But as far as no
eras was whack.
No eras was whack.
Well, let me ask you about the 70s.
Yeah,
70s.
You talk about the dark ages.
You know, exactly, because when people, I was born in the
70s too.
Listen,
but I'm talking for the NBA.
Is 60s. They literally forget the 70s. Only person they'll talk about maybe is Dr. J and Kareem. But other than that, they skip the 70s, then they go straight to 80s.
I mean, not the 70s, because that's the last time the Knicks won. So people don't forget about that. If you're a lamenting Knicks fan, right? I don't forget, right? So Willis Reed, you know, all of those, Earl the Pearl, you know, the 70s, but it ended with Larry and Magic. Right, the Supersonics winning in '77 with Dennis Johnson and that crew out there led by Lenny Wilkins, like the Trailblazers with Bill Walton and those guys, right, when they beat Dr. J and them. Like, it's not that it's forgotten, it's just not the highest. Like Dave Cowan's playing during that time, like it's not the highlight of the NBA, because again, games on tape delay. Right, it's it wasn't Showtime. It was Magic and Larry that brought everything to the forefront. They don't even have stats from the 60s and some of the 70s, right? You had the ABA going on at the same time, right? So Dan Issel was playing over in the ABA and Dr. J's playing the ABA. Then he go, you know, so it's like there's so much going on. Like as far as the business aspect, it's easy to forget that era. But in the 80s, it was all NBA, right? It was a Magic Bird, and then it was the Jordan, and then it was a pass over to Kobe, LeBron, and now we're in this era of who's got next, right? So I'm excited for it. I do want them to bring back hand checking, because the defense has gotten the lack of ability to play real defense has gotten out of control. But there is one player that I have as an all-time great, one of my all-time favorites, that I don't. He would be a phenomenal scorer. But I don't know if he would be as dominant because he doesn't have enough girth, and this might cause a little whatever, and that's Kevin Durant. I love KD. But I saw how the Boston Celtics swept them a couple of years back when he had Kyrie on his team, and they just bully balled him, right? They got real physical with him, and he was just coming back. Maybe I'm making excuses for him, but it just wasn't the same. And I'm trying to think, like, what would that be like when you have Anthony Mason, Xavier McDaniel, right? When you have these enforcers that are leaning on your body and allowed to touch you up just a little bit, right? What that would be like. Would he still get his? Of course. That man can score, and he's one of the greatest scorers of all time. But it's just the thought of seeing what it would be like if they were allowed to be physical.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that, and to use a boxing terminology, skills pay the bills. I think once you are skilled, it doesn't really matter what era it is. It's all about skills. It's all about footwork. It's all about fundamentals. It's all about having, that skill set and then being able to think and to be able to play the game. But I think, Corey, the biggest point that you make is that it's the highlight. This is the highlight generation. And I deal with it as a high school coach, is that you gotta basically, I call it the TikTok generation, where you gotta put things in clips in order for them to consume it, in order for them to understand it. Because if you put anything more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes,
short attention span.
Exactly. They just, and it's not just the younger generation. As a whole society, we have like ADHD as a society, in my opinion, is that we consume everything in short bites, and if it doesn't catch our attention, then
Could you repeat that again?
What's that?
I wasn't paying attention. Can you say that one more time?
Oh no, you funny.
Nah, I'm messing about.
You're funny, but no. Listen, that's honestly what happens is that we've been almost conditioned to where if it's not in the clip, if it's not in the reel, then it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, listen, Corey, man, we appreciate you getting your rant off.
Yeah, I was ranting.
Oh, real quick though, we got the same top three. Finally, someone agrees with me. We got the same top three all the time.
So we're gonna let you. Before we let you go, though, you brought up one thing that's very important, and you talked about the errors, and you talked about Steph. So we've got this running debate that's been going on, right, Chris?
Yeah, he not lying.
GOAT point guard.
GOAT point guard?
Yes.
Steph is not in that conversation.
Okay, you only got to say no more. Just leave it right there.
You really
so I'm going to say this. He's not, because all right. Let's look at let's talk about what a point guard is supposed to be, a pure point guard, right? A pure point guard sets the table, right? For everybody else. A pure point guard. I'm thinking Rod Strickland. I'm thinking Isaiah Thomas. I'm thinking Magic Johnson, right? You talk about pure point guards. I'm thinking Rajon Rondo, right? I'm thinking Chris Paul, right? Now, today's game, we're getting a hybrid of players. Some people believe there won't be a point guard that's a traditional 6-foot point guard in the future because small forwards and power forwards and Jokic are running the point, right? And you got Draymonds and stuff like that. But the key with that is, like, when you have this hybrid guard, you got a Russell Westbrook, right? You get like a Derrick Rose, who was the first Russell Westbrook. You get like even a Steph, where they're like combo guards, right? Even Allen Iverson was a combo. They have the height of a point guard, but they don't have the mindset. They're score first, point guards. They shoot first. And that's not really a true point guard. A true point guard is Mark Jackson, right? Those are the true point guards, where they're setting up their players to score, not setting themselves up. Isaiah was a scoring guard, but I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, Corey. Wait, before you get off, I just need you, because I said at the top that we were family. Have we ever had this conversation about who's the greatest point guard of all time until tonight? Please put
no.
Thank you.
Never had this conversation, which I'm surprised. It wasn't even a question, because it was always Magic is the greatest point guard.
Hey.
So we never even had a conversation in chat. In any way did we ever have a conversation about who the greatest point guard is.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. Be home soon. We'll link up.
Absolutely. Pleasure to see you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Lucky Ray wasn't here. He have a fit, boy.
Listen, I'm downloading this because if we ever have to pull up receipts,
you got it.
All right, you got it, man. Let's keep moving.
All right. Well, let's just we could briefly still touch on the NCAA. I know I said it backstage. We talked about the Clemson real quick in the UConn game. UConn's up 9 now. It's halftime. Clemson made their way back, but the reason why why I know Clemson was down is because Caleb Love. Caleb Love's he can score the ball in bunches, but he's a volume shooter, volume scorer. 3 for 10, 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, and he's really their best offensive player. So when he struggles, you'll see instances like you saw they're down double-digit points. So for me, if Arizona is going to be a team that wants to go to the Final Four, make it to the championship, have a real chance to compete, Caleb Love, he just missed another 3-pointer. Caleb Love has to be able to be at least efficient. I mean, 0 for 5 from the 3-point line, 3 for 11. You're down 2, but it's going to be tough for you to win when your best offensive player is struggling.
Absolutely. And they go as he goes. He's been the engine this entire season. So the fact that he's struggling, it's no surprise that they're struggling as a team.
Yeah, and then to flip back up, tonight games, we also have North Carolina, Alabama. Who you think's going to win that game?
I'm going to go North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got the I was about to throw shade, but I caught myself. But Baycott, I'm going to say that his experience, along with the experience that they've had in terms of being on this stage, I think that's going to carry the day. So I got North Carolina.
Yeah, I think North Carolina is going to win this game. It's going to be a close game, though, because I've been watching SEC ball and ACC ball really all year. Those are my favorite two conferences. And Alabama's the team that scores in bunches. They were one of the top leading scorers all year. And if they want to win, they're going to score. So if it's going to be a close game for Alabama, they're putting points up. So North Carolina, as much as, they would have hang their head on defense, Alabama's going to get theirs regardless. So North Carolina's going to have to keep up with them. So I expect a big game from Baycott, big game from Davis, even a big game from Ingram. But I'm with you. I think North Carolina is going to win that game. And switching over to the women's side, let me ask you this. This has to be one of the best, in my opinion, or recent women's tournament, especially when I look at the brackets. Potentially, you can have a matchup. Not, everybody wants to talk about, the LSU and the Iowa, but I'm talking about Paige Buckners and Juju Watkins can meet up in Elite Eight. You talking about the two? People forgot about Paige.
I forgot.
Paige, honestly, if she didn't miss those 2 years, she would be the number. I think she'd be the number one pick over Caitlin Clark. And she's showing how dominant she's been this year, having the big performances in the tournament. So if UConn's able to beat Duke and USC is able to beat Baylor tomorrow, on Saturday, that matchup, I think that's going to be the best matchup, honestly, of the entire women's side, because you got two players at the same position that are going to be going at each other.
Head to head. And
head to head.
That's, that is what makes basketball.
Mm-hmm.
The individual matchups within, the team game.
Mm-hmm.
So to see them two go head to head, like you said, that's going to be must-see TV because, to your point, people have, because Paige got hurt, people forgot about it. It's, out of sight, out of mind to a degree. But this is her opportunity to show that she's back and that, you got the young versus the older. And so Juju's coming for her head, and Juju she ain't taking no shorts with nobody. So
no, she's not.
That's gonna be one of those matchups that you want to. That's gonna be must see TV. So hopefully everything goes according to plan and that happens. And that I'm definitely gonna be tuned into that one for sure.
Absolutely. And then so let me ask you, follow up on it. We talk about the Elite Eight. I believe the Elite Eight is going to be better than the Final Four, in my opinion, because you also have Iowa and LSU matching up. That's going to be a good one.
Yeah, but I'm a little disappointed about that, though, to be honest, is because that's kicking away. That's one of those Final Four. You know what I mean? And it's a rematch too.
Well, I say this, in my opinion, I wish one of those teams would have been in Region 4. Then this is no disrespect to Region 4, because Stanford has one of the best young players, best women's players in the game right now. So this is no disrespect to Stanford at all. But I would have loved to see. It's hard to see all your top teams in the same bracket. I feel like Iowa. I not feel like I know for a fact Iowa, LSU, and South Carolina. None of them should have been in the same region,
Yeah.
honestly. But I think that's going to be one of the matchup for the books, man. Kaylin Clark getting her payback is Van Lee. I don't even want to mess up her name, but the young guard that came over from
Shooter.
Louisville.
Yes. Yeah, the shooter.
So if you watch the game against Middle Tennessee, she was benched in the second half because of her poor defense. The guard for Middle Tennessee was able to come off the pick and roll and really have her way. I think this may be one of those games where she's able to say, hey, like, I was getting 20 plus over there at Louisville. I know I came over here and my role hasn't been the same. And, people say, man, why she transfer? But I think this may be one of them games she shows, like, I have a value for this team and I could get you 20 plus any night. So I think she's going to try to get her rematch and, her payback against Iowa.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, I think that the issue sometimes is when you're a shooter like that, is that it takes away your energy on the defensive end because you're running off screens. And we know that defense is energy and effort. So when you're expending that type of energy on the offensive end, it's not as easy to defend. So, and that's the challenge as a coach, that you got to take the good with the bad, and then make sure that the positives outweigh the negatives. And sure, you can never have too much shooting.
No, you cannot. So it's going to be a great, weekend for college basketball. Monday, everybody, stay tuned in. We're definitely going to cover it. But to move on, this topic's for you because we talked about this a few weeks ago. And Draymond Green getting ejected and him getting technical fouls. And I said, man, Draymond, he's going to know better. His teammates going to be able to de-escalate the situation. Well, against the Orlando Magic, 3-4 minutes in the game. I mean, I'm on my phone on Twitter. You know me, I'm about to put a couple bets in. Luckily, I didn't have no bets in for this game. And then I just see my Twitter notifications blowing up. Draymond ejected. I'm like, I wonder what he did. When I saw him go back for it with the referee, I said, man, this is – they were lucky to win that game because the Magic – I know we talked about the Magic and how good they are. And they were on away. It was a away game for the Warriors. They were lucky to win that game. But what were your initial thoughts when Draymond was ejected? I hope it wasn't I told you so. But
no.
What's your initial thoughts when you saw that Draymond was ejected in the first quarter, might I add? 2 quick technical fouls.
That he wanted the night off. Straight up. That was my initial thought. Draymond did not feel like playing against the Orlando Magic. And, this is real talk, that he caught the Paolo flu. Because that young bull.
Oh, he's one of them.
Exactly. He been cooking everybody. So I think he caught the Paolo flu, and he was like, you know what? I already got – it was a call, I think it was, that set him off in terms of the first technical foul. And the young fella saw that and it was like, hey, listen, this is going to be one of them nights. I'm going to go out again into the early conversation with Durant. This younger generation, they definitely going to go at your head.
Absolutely.
And have no disregard. And have no regard and not worried about your feelings whatsoever. So Paolo has been he's been establishing himself as, to your point, you said one of the ones. That's what he's trying to do tonight. And I think that Draymond didn't want no smoke and he waved the white flag early.
Yeah. And it's tough. Like I said, if they lost that game, and we're about to talk about that here soon, but if they lost that game, that was major implications. So Steph Curry being upset. I mean, honestly, I know Draymond is Draymond, but if I'm in that locker room, it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I understand you're upset, but do players not realize? And granted, I've been a player and I've been mad and I've been kicked out of a game before my high school football. So I said some wild things to a referee. And but that's a story for another day. But do players not realize that just because you're talking, nothing you say to the referee is going to change their mind? Calls are not going to get reversed unless the coach challenges it. So for you to go back and forth with a referee, it really suits no purpose. And so if the Warriors were to lose that game, there's a team over there in Houston, Ray. You almost got lucky, Ray, because the way this team's playing, if the Mavericks were playing bad, you'd win this bet. But there's a team over there in Houston that's on a 10-game winning streak. You know, do you think they could creep and make it into the play-in? Because I believe they are.
Mhm.
I believe they're
No,
going right into the play-in
I
tournament.
agree.
So do you believe they
So,
can overtake the Warriors?
yeah, me and we was talking about this on Monday, and I said that
Mhm.
they're both of them out. Golden State and the Lakers are out, and that these young teams are gonna.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we did. I put it out there.
oh,
Is that these
oh.
young teams are coming for these older team spots, and they're going to knock them. They're going to knock them out of there because, to your point, is that one. First of all, Jalen Green's swag on the court right now is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's definitely crazy. I'll give you
Like
that.
that double behind the back was different. Like, and he's shooting and looking at dudes and turning away. He doing that step stuff where he's shooting and turning and going back down the court. Like,
It's crazy. He always finds his rhythm towards the end of the season. It's been every year since he's been in
yeah,
the league. I'm
yeah,
just now noticing
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Towards the end of the year, he always has a crazy berserker games.
Yeah, so they're clicking. And is Sangoon, is he back?
He's out for the year.
Oh, he's out for the year. Oh man, I don't know why I thought he had a chance of
Yeah,
coming back.
he's out. He's out for the year, man. I felt bad for him because he was having one of them type years. We being
Yeah,
honest, he was having
yeah,
one of them type seasons.
yeah. So um that might make my prediction. That might throw it off because I don't know why for some reason I thought he had a chance to come back. But anyway, but the way Jalen Green is playing, like if he
Hmm.
continues to play at this level, then he's gonna prove me right. Uh, because they got the pieces in terms. You got that veteran point guard, what we was talking about earlier in
Hmm.
Van Vliet. You got a coach with a chip on his shoulder that is clearly basically transferred that spirit, for lack of a better term, to his team. And they're out here just like, listen, we want all the smoke. We're
They,
going
they
at
definitely
you
they
know what I'm
definitely want
saying?
all the smoke.
They're going at everybody's head. They're not afraid. They're playing like they belong. And
Hmm.
so that's really the biggest reason why I got them going. And then especially now with Draymond and this happening now, like going down the stretch, I think that's why Steph was so emotional.
Hmm.
It's like, bro, come on. You know what time it is. You know what time of
Exactly.
year it is. Like, we're going into the home stretch. We can't have you just melting down and just taking nights off. Just, check
Like
it out mentally. Because that's what he did. He checked
fast
out
too.
mentally.
Fast. Game just started. 4 minutes in. You already like, come on. What are we doing here? What are we
So
doing here?
yeah, that's just bad. That's just bad business all around. So and having said that, I did see that he took accountability for it. So
Yeah,
that's
no
a good
choice this
thing.
time.
Well, I mean, yeah, he had to, yes, but he could have been stubborn because we've seen Draymond be stubborn
Hmm.
and not take accountability for his actions. So the fact that he did that, I think, is a good sign. And hopefully this doesn't impact them negatively down the stretch. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, the only thing I disagree with you, and I was going to add this topic, but I'll be brief with it when it comes to the Lakers and the Warriors. And, I just recently talked about this on my podcast. I think the Rockets are going to overtake the Warriors, but that Lakers schedule, if the Pelicans lose tonight, I think the Lakers may finish the 7 or 6 seed. I took a look at it. The Pelicans lose to the Bucks tonight, they'll be have the same record, or they had the same record as the Mavericks. Basically, the Mavericks 9-1. They've been dominating without Brandon Ingram, who's out I think for a couple more weeks. It's going to be rough for the Pelicans. And I looked at the schedule for the Lakers. The fact that they were able to beat the Bucks, I don't think people understand how important that was for them. They have the Pacers, but then they have the Nets, Raptors, Wizards. Should be 3 cakewalk games. And I'll be honest, the Pacers haven't been looking like the same team. Then you have, you go against the Grizzlies again. You go against Pelicans, who may not have Brandon Ingram. They have the Cavaliers, who's a good team. The Timberwolves and Warriors, they always match up well. They have a favorable schedule. And if they're able to, like AD had a night off, LeBron had a night off against the Bucks, if they're able to catch rhythm, I don't want to sit up here and pull up the schedule. I have the clip on my social media for y'all. The Lakers making the playoffs. The Warriors, no, but the Lakers, yeah. I have the Lakers making it over the Kings. To me, the Lakers, yeah, absolutely. As long as the Lakers don't have to play them in the play-in, and I don't even think I don't think the Lakers may not even be in the play-in. But as long as the Lakers can avoid them in the play-in, I believe that they will make the playoffs. Absolutely. Phoenix and LA to me are going to be, and the play-in teams right now, you got Phoenix, Sacramento, LA, and Warriors. If the playoffs is the end of the day, I'm liking LA and Phoenix. But I think, honestly, the Pelicans are going to slide into the play-in, and Phoenix and LA is going to slide into the playoffs.
Well, I agree that Ingram injury that's a really bad. It couldn't happen at a worse time because they were ascending. They were really rolling. And you saw Zion just really getting deep into his bag. You could see that he's in shape, and like you see them really starting to come together. So for this to happen right now is really unfortunate. But for the Lakers, man, I just don't trust them on a defensive perimeter. They just got 3 guys that are just they're just average to below average defenders. I just got to keep it real. And AD is cleaning up a lot of stuff. We're seeing the UK, we're seeing the prime AD in terms of protecting that back line and being that rim protector. But again, that's effort. Like he basically, emptied his clip, for lack of a better term, against Milwaukee, and he had to have a 30 and 20 for them to pull that out. And know
that's without Bron.
It is, but I'm just saying that the fact that he has to do that, that's going to, you can't expect that every night. And with LeBron, and this was my issue in terms of why I didn't think that the Lakers could get into the playoffs, is because you got to bring up or conjure up that high level of basketball, of energy, of playing at that dominant level now pretty much night in, night out. And these are older guys. And the older you get, the harder it is for you to do that on a consistent basis, to bring that level of intensity, of energy, of, of being locked in mentally and physically. So that's why I'm not sure. That's why I said that the Lakers was going to be on the outside looking in.
Man, I don't want to sit up here and defend the Lakers no more. I'm not no Lakers fan. I'd rather defend my Sixers making the playoffs, even though, and speaking of that, as we're, winding down for the NBA topics, a guy, Kawhi Leonard, had the and-1 against my Sixers. First of all, Kelly Oubre, you should never foul him to begin with. But big stop, the Clippers were able to, get the victory, even though we got cheated. That's a story for another day. But with Kawhi, I think officially hitting the 65 game mark, which is, I think people need to salute him for that, because everybody's saying, load management. And he probably been in the lineup more than anybody. Do you think Kawhi is all NBA this year?
First team or just
all NBA in general? Period. Not first team. That'd be a silly question. But
yeah, I gotta.
You need me pull up his numbers for you?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that. Okay. As soon as,
because while you're doing that, I could think about, for sure, you got Jokic, you got Luka, you got SGA, you got Steph, you got who else? I'm missing some names that are no-brainers. I think he's on the fringe. That's what I'll say.
All right, because right now he's 17 in points per game, averaging 23.7, 52% from the field, 41% from the three-point line, 88% from the free throw line, giving you 6 rebounds, about 4 assists, close to 2 steals and a block per game. Amongst small forwards, he is third as far as points per game.
Okay. And that's 50, 40, 88. So
Yeah,
that's,
which is
you know what I
amazing.
mean?
People don't
How
know how
many
good of a shooter
games
Kawhi
played is
Leonard
that?
is. He's 65. He's 66. So 66 games. So they got the 65 game rule. So
Right.
he
Right.
meets the criteria. I see Paul George also meets the criteria. So you think he's on the fringe?
Oh, you know what? After rethinking it, no, I got him. He's got to be at least 13. 50, 40, 88 and third. Because think about it. Think about the numbers. If you're saying he's
Oh, I
third
know, no,
in
I
terms of
understand the
small
numbers.
forward and what he's putting up and record wise, what are they? What seed are they right now?
They're the 5th seed.
They're the 5th
Fourth
seed right
seed.
now.
Fourth seed.
Oh, 4th seed right now. So yeah, no, he's in. Yeah, he's in. Yeah, I'm standing on that. He's in. He's all NBA.
After careful consideration, I don't think he makes it. And if he does, he's barely sneaking into the third spot. Well, I'll say this. If it wasn't for the 65 game rule, he wouldn't make it because Donovan Mitchell deserves to be all NBA. But even with that, it's going to be close because when I look at forwards.
Are you putting Donovan Mitchell as a 3?
No, but Donovan Mitchell's he's one of the guard. He's one of the guards. He's still going to take up a spot, and I think it's positionless. Like when I look at some of them teams, they be having forwards.
Yeah.
But even if we stick in the positions, if I'm looking at forwards, you got Tatum. I'm picking LeBron over him. When you go to power forward, you got Giannis, Kevin Durant. Then a guy I think who may deserve it over him, Paolo Banchero. Paolo's averaging 22, 7 and basically 5.
I can't, but after I gotta definitely give that.
That's
that's
so
legit.
You already
legit.
You already got 2 forwards, power forwards in Giannis and Kevin Durant, who probably gonna be first team in my opinion. So then you got LeBron on the second team.
Yeah.
You got LeBron on the second team. I mean, you got Tatum also.
Oh yeah,
so it's
he's definitely in.
It's going to be tough, and
yeah, I say third team or he's third team or not at all.
I just thought about this, and we can definitely talk about this Monday. Somebody's going to get left off this All NBA first team, and it's I don't want to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant may not be first team All NBA, and to me, Kevin Durant should be first team All Defense this year. If you saw what he did last night against the Nuggets. Taking charges, had like 4 blocks. This is quiet because how dominant he's been, and we're gonna definitely talk about this Monday because I got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant.
That's a definite put a pin in. Who's out? Who's in? Who's out? All NBA. So we're gonna have to expand this.
Absolutely, but last topic. Over the next 17 days, how important do you think it is for these teams to really lock in? Because I read to you the Western Conference standings. If I look at the East, I think the East is going to be totally different by the time the playoff starts. I think 2 through 5 is going to be different when you have Milwaukee, Cleveland, Orlando. And I think a team like Miami may be top 6. So, do you think certain teams? Well, let me ask you this: do you think certain teams are going to tank? As far as I want to play this team instead of that team in the playoffs?
Well, I'll say from a Knicks perspective, no, with them, because you know how Tibbs is.
Oh, absolutely.
Tibbs don't take his foot off the gas. So from a Knicks perspective, no. For anybody else, and then I think the Magic too. That's another one too that I don't think they're taking their foot off the gas. I think Cleveland maybe so that they can make sure that they're as healthy as possible going into the playoffs after they had that first round exit. So maybe that's one that might take their foot off the gas. But I think that's it because Milwaukee wants to keep that second seed. Knicks want home court advantage. So yeah, I don't think there's anybody. Only team maybe is Miami because they don't care where they're seated. They just gonna go and
Yeah.
compete regardless.
Who do you think for the Knicks? And this is the last question. Who's the best matchup for y'all in the playoffs? Because if you're the fourth seed, obviously you have Boston in the second round, and if you're the third seed, then you have Milwaukee in the second round. Currently, you have a half game lead over Cleveland for the number 4 spot. I don't see y'all going to the 5, but even that it doesn't matter. So, do you think match up better with Boston or Milwaukee? Who would you rather play in the second round, too?
Well, I'm not going to even look that far. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to set myself up for disappointment coming up the NFL season. You know what I mean? It's like real. Hey man, listen.
Oh my goodness.
The struggle is real. But no, actually, the matchup that I wanted,
Hmm.
and selfishly, the matchup I wanted is Orlando because
Hmm.
I would definitely be trying to be in the building for a game.
Hmm.
But to me, that's the best matchup because again, you have that inexperience, them first time being on that stage,
Hmm.
and then you're going, from the comfy confines of Orlando, Disney, to the Garden, where we know that there's a hostile and that's a different environment. So to me, that's the best matchup for us. But I wouldn't be mad at Indiana too, because to your point, that they're kind of dragging into the playoffs. They haven't been the same
Oh,
since
I
Alex.
have no faith in Indiana.
Right, and then you
I
know
think
how I
that's the
feel
team you
about
want.
right, and I've
Hmm.
been on Miles Turner's head, which is
Hmm.
another debate that we gotta revisit because. But anyway, uh, that is that's the match. Those two are the two matchups as a Knicks fan that I would want to see, either Indiana or Orlando, and my preference is Orlando.
Okay. Well, that's it for NBA. We definitely gonna bring this back up on Monday. Before we switch over to the NFL, go ahead and show them my favorite thing to see every single Monday and Thursday. Go ahead and let the people know, man. I'm getting hungry, man. Go ahead. Go ahead and let the people know where they can get those good treats at.
For sure, is Nelly's Joyful Treats on Instagram and on Facebook. Um, you saw there's a new cookie alert in the words of DJ Khaled. Strawberry lemonade. It's a new flavor that just came out. Um, and then there's a butter pecan and crisp. That butter
It's like
pecan.
that.
Oh my gosh. We had some at the game. We
Hmm.
had some at the alumni game. And one of the parents was like, yo, I wish I could have ordered 100 of them. So yeah, go to Nelly's Joyful Treats on Instagram and Facebook and to get your sweet taste of soul. And brands, yeah, you can have this spot. We got
Hmm.
prime real estate, mid show. We got these spots available for you. And you can promote your business, promote your brand, promote your services here on the ASAP network. And we stream live on pretty much any platform that you could think of in terms of social media wise, all the way to Twitch. So
Hmm.
people could watch while they're gaming. So holla at us, get at us, and we can promote your brand and podcasters as well. Um, you need music for your podcast. We got you on that too
Hmm.
because you hear our intro that was done by myself and my team. Working on something for Dev, for my thoughts, my opinion. We sent him something tonight. So if you need something, you need some custom music for your content, Get at us at KANM Collective on Instagram and KNMcollective.com.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, I know y'all like that intro. I remember the first time I heard it. Did a great job on it, brother.
Appreciate that.
Well, I know y'all talked about this on Monday, and I'm a brief because I just want to give my 2 cents on this new hip tackle rule. Man, did not expect it, not a fan of it. And if we're going to have this hip tackle rule, can we ban hitting players at the knee, going for their knees? That's my only thing. If we're talking about making it safe, you look at a guy like Nick Chubb, his knee was completely blown out. And, I see Mika, all these saying, oh, well, you try tackle. Why don't you try getting in the weight room? The weight room is open for everybody. So just because you can't tackle him, that's not his fault that he's stronger than you. You have access to the weight room just like he does. And this is no shot at Mika. This is just, if we're going to ban hip tackling rules, why can't we ban players literally going for your knee? Like that, your knee. We're not like, you saw what happened. If you're trying to keep players safe, that's one tackling maneuver that's been knocking people out and getting people hurt for years. I don't understand how that's safe. And it just doesn't. I'm not going to take up too much time, but that's just my 2 thoughts, my 2 cents on it.
No, so let me ask you, would you rather them have taken, so it sounds like you're saying that you would rather them replace the taking out the knees, you rather them have take out no knee, no knee tackle rules as opposed to the hip tackle. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because when I look at it, let's say like, so if I have a player that's if I have a player that's about to beat me down the field, I have to grab him like this. Now I'm supposed to let him go. The only way the option might be to hip tackle. And I'm not trying to hurt him. That just literally may be the only option to get him down. Whereas I have a guy that's lying in front of me, and instead of going head up against him, I decide to take him out at his knee. That's my only thing. I know the hip tackle rule. I know, we talk about player safety. I know how important it could be. But I mean, you're taking out somebody's knee, man. That can completely end their career.
No, 100%. And we talked, Devin and I, when we talked about it, we just like, it's just, you're basically taking the physicality completely out of the game.
Absolutely. It's a contact sport. Like I don't understand what people don't understand. It's a contact sport. When I played football, you had a difference of flag and tackle football. Tackle football, you knew what you signed up for. And I don't, we want to protect the offensive side, where now you may make it an inconvenience for defense. And now we look at the NBA and how everybody's complaining that there's no defense and there's nothing being competitive because all the quote unquote rules may be advantage to the offensive players. So what's going to happen in the NFL when defense can't do anything? Offense is scoring. You got 45 to 44 games every single night. So I think if this keeps going on, you're going to see people. Everybody's complaining about the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see it with the NFL.
I totally agree. And yeah, so it's going to be the fantasy football era where it's just, you know what I'm saying? Where we're just watching teams just go up and down the field and
take your overs.
That's it. And the NFL is going to turn into arena league football. That's what this is headed.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's I don't know, man. I don't like the rule personally. Speaking of another rule, though, how do you feel about this new kickoff rule? It's been, the kickoff has been changed. It feels like every single year for the past few years, and really at this point, it's like, why do we still have one? why do we still have a kickoff? So, what's your thoughts on this new rule?
That's it. You said it. Like, why do we even have it? What the guys are gonna have to just like practice on landing in a certain area of the field? Like this, we're just doing too much, man. Like, I don't know if they got too much time on their hands. I don't know what the deal is, but we're just trying to tweak the game so much. And this is probably, it's an unpopular opinion. And Chris, I don't know, you might feel a type of way about this, but to me, this is all being dictated by betting. Like betting has become such a big part of the game that it's affecting the rules.
Yeah, I mean, you see players talking about betting more and more. And I think it definitely has an impact on what's going on in the league currently. I can't lie to you. I just don't. They have props for kickoff. So like, what are you doing? You want to make money? There's literally props for a kickoff. I don't take them because there's no point because everybody's going to want a touchback. But special teams used to be a key component to winning the game. A kickoff, literally. Look at Devin Hester. Look at Josh Cribbs. All these players were able to dictate, the outcome of the games. And so when I'm looking at what I'm seeing right now, it's a number of things. I think betting's ruining sports entirely, in my opinion. But it's a lot of different ways we could look at this, man. But I'm with you. I think betting is a key component, and this is going to be a key component why we see a lot of rules being changed.
Yeah, and to your point, as a Cowboys fan, like Kevon Turpin, he was a big part of the success that we had in the regular season because he was a threat to go every time he got it. And that's enough. You're basically taking out the third phase of the game. So what now? We're going to fire special team coaches? Because what are they going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not a guy that's going to work with the kicker and the punters, like, you're basically taking out the return game. And you're taking, guys' jobs and livelihoods and how they're able to impact the game and have a positive impact on their team. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of it at all.
Me neither. Look at us agreeing. I mean, it's not rare. It's not rare, but when you have things like this that make no sense, I feel like a lot of people can agree that in NFL, these rule changes aren't it.
Not it. Yeah, I got to stop.
Right. Any last thoughts? Any last topics you want to talk about real quick before we head up out of here?
No, man. Well, one fan rant. We had our first one tonight.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Corey for jumping on. This is going to be a new segment that we're going to add to the show going forward. So if you want to be a part of it, if you want to be a part of it, you could hit us up on our social media as you see them up there on the screen. Just DM us and let us know that you want to get on. We'll send you the link to the live, and you could jump in and sound off. And you know what I'm saying? Whatever topic, whatever team you want to sound off on, you want to fire on, you could do it. NBA, NFL, even boxing. If you wanted to fire off on the commissions, or you want to fire off on, what matchup you want to see. This is your segment so that you could be a part of it. You could bring your real talk. So we got some more coming on that. And then, hey, man, while we're talking sports, we're going to make sure everybody enjoys the holiday weekend. And let's remember what the holiday is about. Let's not commercialize it. Let's celebrate.
Absolutely. Appreciate it as always, Kenny. Real quick, just to give an update on this Clemson game. Clemson's up 3. Caleb Love, 0 for 9 from the 3-point line, 4 for 17.
Yeah. This one's going down to the wire.
It's going down to the wire, and I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Love hits a game time 3 coming up.
Hey man, this is that time of year. It doesn't matter. You just need the next shot to go in. And so that was going down to. It looks like though UConn is pulling away. I think San Diego State is running.
Oh, absolutely.
Gas. Yeah, this one is about to be a wrap. So, yeah, man, you got any parlays? You got anything you want to?
Well, it was only
get out of here?
It's only 2 games tonight. You know, and MLB came back for all my MLB fans. Opening day was today. The Dodgers. If you're somebody that likes to bet on baseball, the Dodgers are a team. They have
We know
they have every
Shohei
hitter
likes
you
to
want.
bet on baseball. Oh, my bad. I wasn't supposed to say that.
But man, you got him. You have Mookie Betts. You have Freeman. You have Smith. I mean, you have so many guys. If you're a betting person on baseball and you like to bet on hits and home runs, that's the team. But for basketball, you see the handle right there, sportsw_Chris, my Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, or we call X. I'm going to be posting a whole bunch of parlays for tomorrow and moving forward. But tonight, you know, for my March Madness people, before the game starts, I like Alabama. I mean, I'm like in Carolina to cover the spread -6, and I like the over, and I like Illinois' money line over Iowa State.
Yes, sir. So yeah, since you shouting out social media, just make sure you follow me as well. Everywhere at Coach_ANYKENY, and follow my team as well. We got some content on there as well. We got a highlight reel that's coming out for the season that'll be coming out real soon. So follow my guys, follow those flashes, and follow me everywhere you consume social media, and check out our YouTube channels. Check out ASAP. Make sure you subscribe there. We're doing great with the subs, but I want to trying to get my channel up and get my subs on my YouTube up. So show me some love and subscribe to the channel, because we put content out on there as well. And since we're talking sports, there is an episode that's on there. We got a New York City basketball real talk episode on my channel. I have my guy Al, aka Alvin, aka 1,000 Moves Young. He was an NCAA leading scorer at Niagara his senior year. Played overseas for over 15 years. And he's one of the assistant coaches for Jelly Fam for Overtime Elite.
Jelly Fam was a movement.
Yeah, so he's one of the assistant coaches on that coaching staff there.
Okay.
So yeah, check that out. And I went in on Jerry Jones. I've been on his head, but I really went in Jerry Jones about this all-in stuff. So check it out.
Absolutely. Well, Kenny, to everybody else, we'll see you Monday.
Yes, sir.
And the keys, tempo, time, let's go.
We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing. Getting with the coverage, we loving it all day. Picking up the news, tell us wherever the ball lay. With the NFL, NBA, they box so. Sports news in the hands of a man with fair takes. Tell them, coach, statistics and realness that's being spoke. Either hit it for the win or they hitting the goal posts. Either way, we woke up to the news of the day. Any Kenny could call it, he like to talk it out with Ray. Fast breaks down the lane, they better move out the way, or they pulling from perimeter. Curry bury the trade, yeah, they got it. Woo! Duval with the hottest, Chris and Dev like the master, and mix it up like it's Logic being modest. They been looking for that real, trying to get it feel. Sports podcast, they running back on the real, that's a steal, yeah. They never sick, but they ill. Real sports talk going, deliver, signed and sealed. We bring that real talk when it comes to sports, covering the news, giving you the truth. Nothing but that real on hoops in the league. All things NFL, we don't miss a thing.